Welcome, everyone, to Elevate with V, episode number 1. I am so excited and I have so much gratitude for the universe conspiring and helping to have this happen. And I'm so excited. As you would have heard in the introduction, that this podcast is inspired by my own journey. And it's a way for me to express gratitude for all the beautiful souls that I've met, who have acted as coaches or guides or mentors and helped me navigate during some of my most challenging times to bring me to the space where I am today to create this beautiful podcast. So I cannot wait to introduce my guest, Michael. Also known as a crystal queer. I found him about 2 years ago in the middle of the pandemic. I just remember he was doing a Facebook Live and I was just swiping. I was like, who is this? Oh my God, I love him. I love his energy. I love his personality. And here I am 2 years later. And I have to say that during my healing journey, his lives every week truly were like a lifeline for me. And it was a safe haven. I would pop in, not only his beautiful energy, but this beautiful queerent community that he created. And we would all show up and just feel the love and the support, and to just feel like we could just be ourselves no matter what stage of our journey we were in. So for that, I am forever grateful to the universe for bringing me to him. And so now let me share a little something about Michael. So Michael has been supporting gifted healers and highly sensitive souls his entire life. A passion for the psychic arts, divination, and crystal therapy led him on a 25-year journey of reading tarot for countless people across the planet. During his career as a professional reader, teacher, and healer, Michael has connected deeply with so many incredible queerents who have, in turn, assisted him greatly on his own healing journey. His greatest joy comes through guiding others, expressing authentically, and co-creating with the world's most powerful light workers. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Benita. Oh my gosh. The honor is all mine, truly. I am just so inspired by you. And, talking about how the lives have been a lifeline, especially through the pandemic, they have been a lifeline for me. And you do not even know, unless you do, just how powerful your light has been a lifeline for me specifically. And I so appreciate you always being there, and not just, supporting me, but supporting the whole queer collective that comes together for these lives. So you are an integral part of the magic, baby. And I'm just so thankful. Thank you.
Oh, as everyone can tell, there's just so much love in here. It's like a little love fest, and we love that.
Tunnel of love. Oh, I feel it. I feel it right now. Yes, you are love embodied, and that's why I am so excited that not only you're doing this and you are launching Elevate with V, which we know was kind of in utero for a minute, but also that I get to be a first guest. Oh my God, what did I deserve this? I don't know.
Of course you do. It's divine timing. The universe was like, yes, this is how it's supposed to come together. And so here we are, co-creating together and sharing our love and our energy and our stories to hopefully elevate others along whatever part of their journey they're in. And so talking about that, I would love to hear a little bit more from you, Michael, because I don't actually know this either, is, maybe to share something that you have navigated through. I mean, I know we've all, when we go through a healing journey, there are many things that we navigate through. And so if you would like to share a story or two of things that you felt were like extreme challenges or like super dark moments that now when you look back, you're like, wow, as scary and horrible as it was, it's like, that was really a gift and has brought me to the space that I'm in. So,
I mean, that says it all. Next. Truly, I mean, I don't know if I can articulate that quite as well as you did, but what comes to mind for me is just kind of the whole inspiration behind Crystal Queer and kind of how I present myself as the Crystal Queer, because being queer has been my greatest blessing and my greatest challenge. And I'm not just talking about being gay or the sexuality aspect, but always being queer, as in very different, very unique, and just incomparable to those who were around me in a lot of ways. At least the way I perceived myself and the world, it was like, whoa, I stick out like a big queer thumb. And that was since I was a child. Since I was a child, I was very different. And so that's always been kind of in a lot of ways, a core wound, because of the way that I experienced always being so different and feeling like I was an alien amongst people. And so what came from that, though, was such a deep, radical acceptance and learning to completely love and surrender to who I am, even though from a conscious ego perspective, I wouldn't have chose that. I would not have chosen. My ego wanted to blend in and be like everyone else and just feel a sense of normalcy. And it was through this work supporting other queers, as I affectionately call the highly sensitives of the world that feel like they stick out and they're so different. By supporting them, I've learned so much about accepting myself and loving myself and knowing that I did not come to blend in, even though back then it was my number one goal and dream was to just blend and be one of the people, to be where the people are. Not to quote The Little Mermaid too much, that hopefully will be the last time I do that, but I wanted to be where the people were. And it just seemed like I had to come to terms with the fact that I was given this special perspective and expression for a reason. So that seems to be at the core of everything that I'm doing, is helping others and myself completely accept what we chose from a soul perspective in this life, and seeing that we didn't come to fit in. We came to create a new fill in the blank world, system, way of being. So yeah, that's kind of the flavor. I hope that answered the question.
Yes, I absolutely love that. That's so beautiful. And I think that a lot of people can relate. I, for one, always felt like I never fit in. I was like, oh, okay, here's the black sheep again. And how to just fit in just enough to not stick out too much. Was kind of, how I used to feel. So I guess my question is, it probably was, quite challenging and somewhat lonely to sort of navigate, even some of your younger years. So who was your support system? Did you have any support system? Like, what did you do for yourself where you could be like, okay, Michael, everything's okay, just keep moving forward? And also, like, you have these gifts. Like, when did you suddenly start to become aware that you had some special gifts that were sort of coming online for you?
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm hearing some voice in me answer these questions as you're asking. And I guess what I'm just now realizing, honestly, since you posed that question, is that throughout every phase of my life, the universe always sent me support, whether it was through friends, whether it was through just my imagination and kind of what got me going and got my embers burning. But there was always something to kind of like hold fast to in the midst of growing up and feeling again like so alien and just like, why am I not like the other kids? Why am I so different? And again, it was past just the sexuality perspective, because trust me, I was plenty gay when I was a child. But it was more than that. It was more than just being the gay kid. It was just realizing I didn't think the way my friends or other people in my class or even my family thought. And so kind of coming to terms with that, like, okay, we need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and feeling like we have no idea what we're doing here or what is going on in the world. That was but after a while, realizing even though being the different one comes with its challenges, and it's pain, especially, you know, those other kids. They can do a number on you, those little children of the world. Love them so much. But it kind of, it forced me to see that there really is a bigger plan, and that looking to the outside world for approval or validation always ends in a bad way. Like, it's just not, even if you get it, there's something deeper, and that deeper validation comes from your connection with spirit, the universe. And when I was a child, I didn't have words for that. I was raised Catholic. So I went to Catholic school from pre-K through 7th grade. And even then, being like, you know, in Catholic school, I was the magical rebel. You know, I was always interested in witchcraft. I remember as a child trying to drag my other Catholic cousins to the woods to do witchcraft together. And this was before I even knew what witchcraft or magic really was. I just resonated with it so deeply. And that's when I started to realize that one of the greatest supports was my spiritual connection. Even before I knew what the heck I was connecting to, I knew it was good. I knew it felt empowering. So all through my, you know, Catholic school career, I can remember, you know, sneaking in spell books to school, getting friends to go do the Ouija board at recess. We would be like under a tree doing the Ouija board and talking to spirits. And there was always that kind of theme of like beyond the veil, the magical. And that kind of empowered me to be different, because I realized that with being so different and sensitive,
yes,
as much as that was a challenge, there comes this other world that you have access to if you'll allow yourself the access and not fear it. And that was kind of when it started, and I started having a lot of psychic dreams. That's what kind of brought me into the world of the psychic arts. Was I would have these dreams, and the dreams would be validated in my first moments of waking up. And there's all different but I would dream of something right before I would wake up. And then as I, you know, came to back into my body, it would either be validated in a text someone had just sent me, or an experience that I walked right into first thing in the morning. And so I'm like, this is happening too often to kind of shrug it off as a coincidence. Yes. And you know, my mother shared with me when I was really young, as soon as I started talking, I was talking about angels and spending time with the angels. Which is really funny because, trust me, I was quite a little devil when I was up through my, I would say, yeah, early 30s. I was quite a devil, and just a lot of trauma response that I was living from. So anyway, there was always that kind of knowing that I was talking to somebody, or, you know, something was going on that I was aware of that a lot of people weren't around me. So kind of just followed me.
That's amazing. Wow. Yeah. I'm learning so much about you, Michael, today. This is incredible.
Oh, trust me, I could talk for days and days. So much to talk about. Yes, it's nice to share.
What would you say for someone who's sort of, you know, in that journey right now, who's sort of like, oh my God, what am I experiencing? What am I hearing? What am I thinking? You know, kind of how you navigated when you were younger, but like maybe there's people who are going through that right now. Is there something that you would say to them about when they're experiencing this, that you could offer them some sort of advice or input?
Yeah, well, first thing I would say, you know, if your gifts are emerging and you're noticing like, whoa, there's some stuff going on and I'm not sure exactly what it is or what my gift really is, but I know there's something there. I would say, of course, find your method of meditation, because in today's world, there is so much going on, so much to tune into, so many distractions, that I feel like, looking back on my own journey, one of the biggest mistakes I made was looking for others to understand what I was experiencing and then validate me. Yes. And baby, you're not going to get that. I mean, odds are you're not going to get that unless you come from a long line of family that have dealt with the same gifts and can set the stage and the expectations of what this is. Sometimes you're out on your own and it feels like you're adrift, wondering like, where's my lifeline? How can I make sense of all this? Am I crazy? You know, there's so much self-judgment that can come in to honoring your gifts and really kind of utilizing them in a practical way and trusting them. First, you got to get over that whole, is it evil? Am I crazy? Am I just, you know, am I pretending? All of those egoic, you know, responses you got to work through. So trust yourself, meditate, get in touch with that eternal piece of you. And even if you don't know what that is or where that is, just kind of setting that intention. Hey, my human self doesn't understand exactly what's going on, but eternal self, soul, higher self, fill in the blank. I'm going to trust you and thank you for surrendering me to, or helping me surrender to you so that I can use whatever gifts are emerging for the highest good. Something like that is a great place to start. And then you'll start seeing the signs, the synchronicities, little flashes of guidance that help you use what you've been given for the highest good. So it's still a journey though. I mean, I've been doing this professionally for a long time. I picked up my first deck of cards when I was 10, and giving readings since then, there are still days where I am like, hey, higher self, I need some help. Like I'm humaning a little hard right now. Help me surrender and know that these gifts are on point and that I'm being of service. So I think you're constantly checking in with that higher self for the guidance and feeling the alignment. But as soon as you start making your alignment depend on other people understanding, I think that's where you're going to run into problems. So don't look externally. There's amazing people out there that are doing their work. You can get so much guidance from that. But at the end of the day, talking with yourself and understanding your higher self is really going to be the key to having confidence with what you're experiencing.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing. I mean, I can even use some of that information at this point. So I was like,
We
thank
all
you,
can.
Michael.
We all can. It's easier. It's so nice to say, oh, talk to your higher self and meditate. Trust me, there are days where I'm like, oh God, I just want coffee. Forget the meditation. Give me the caffeine. I don't have time for my guides. I mean, it really is. It's like when you carve out that energetic investment to connect and to trust, even when you don't know what's going on, when you set that time and that energetic investment, you see it reflected and paid off. So it takes a little bit of focus and dedication and commitment, but the rewards, the psychic fruits, as they say, totally outweigh the investment.
I love that. I love that. And, you know, one of the things that I wanted to share is how you had sort of mentioned that, you know, it's an ongoing journey. Someone might look at you and be like, oh, Michael's got everything figured out. Please, he's been doing this since he was 10 years old, you know? And the truth is not that, right? The truth is that it's sort of almost like a daily journey. And, you know, I was going to ask you like how, you know, it's been even say during the pandemic, you know, so much change for so many people. Did you find that you were also navigating through some stuff that you might not have experienced or dealt with before that you would like to share to be like, hey, listen, it's not all posies and roses.
Not all posies. It's not all rosies. Yes. Not so cozy sometimes. So I think that's a huge part of it, that we are all works in progress. Okay. We're never going to get it wrong. We're never going to get it done, to steal the words of Abraham Hicks. And cut yourself some slack, because we are all going through it. And one thing that I felt urged to talk about was how deliciously naive I was at the beginning of this work. And I thought, wow, okay, I'm getting validation that I'm tuning in. I'm connected to this higher source. I believe in the angels. You know, the angels were kind of giving me more and more to validate that I really did have this connection. And when I first started doing this work, oh my God, I was just so happy-go-lucky, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. And I just thought I was this untouchable, angelic emissary here to help the people of planet Earth see the light and know the truth. Little did I know what kind of humaning I was about to step into and struggle with. And then that's a real fall from grace real quick, when you realize like, oh God, yeah, I know that the universe is, you know, has got my back and that the angels are really here, but I'm still struggling. I'm still having a hard time. Like, please, somebody help me. So that kind of humbled me, not in a way where I felt untouchable or cocky, but in a way that I realized it doesn't matter how strong your spiritual connection is or isn't. You're here to human. You're here to human. That's why we came here. And it's not just to suffer, but for the creation that that challenge or that struggle or that suffering catalyzes in your life. And you start appreciating all the struggles. I never thought I would appreciate the years of depression I went through, or struggling with addiction, or just the trauma responses I had from the traumas of my childhood. I'm seeing now for the first time in my life how valuable all of that was, and going from that victim energy to the victor energy. And now I can look back and be like, damn, I made it through a lot of crap. I really did. And that's what helps me to, I guess, be more authentic and real when I'm connecting with people. Everybody's psychic. Everybody has an intuition. There are so many gifted psychics, mediums, and channelers that I'm blown out of the water by on a daily basis. And I'm like, okay, I could never try to do what they do, but I have to be reminded they can never do what I can do. We all have something to give to the collective because of our trauma that only we can give. And I think it's surprising how, we might never know exactly what we're giving. We might think we know. All these years, I think that, I'm giving my art of the tarot and studying the cards and learning the cards. It's my guidance that I'm giving. But the universe is showing me more and more. That's the divine bait and switch. You think you're showing up to be this psychic guide, and really it's just your energy that's doing it for your client, or it's your name, or just your voice, whatever, that's actually doing the healing work and resonating. So we never know how spirit's going to work through us and utilize us. So it really is about TTPing, trusting the process, and just showing up with an open heart, and the universe will use you. The universe will shine through you in ways you could have never consciously imagined.
Oh, I love that so much.
That was my long-winded Sagittarius. I don't even know what the question was at this point, but
well, we appreciate the information that you shared, because truly it's about sharing pieces of your journey, I think, that can be so helpful for some of us or anybody listening, that to say that, hey, it's going to be okay. Yes, there's going to be some storms, there's going to be some things, but just hold on, go inwards, and really connect back with yourself, and know that you're fully supported. Even if you might not sense it in the moment, it's there. And that's part of the journey. And a lot of it is actually solo. And I learned this, is that it's meant to be that way, so that you can really kind of go back in and deal with some of the things that need to be healed and looked at, and not avoided, not go into, like you said, some sort of addiction, and none of these things are bad. It's part of the journey. But I think it's also about the choices we make, right? And to say, okay, I did this, it's not working so great, so maybe I could try something different.
maybe,
Maybe, just
yeah.
maybe. And because I think that's an important message too, is that there's really no like wrong or bad, it's just experiences, right? And I think that is such an important and powerful thing, because like you were saying before, we are so hard on ourselves. I mean, we can rave and shower other people with like love and just everything we have, yet we might not give even an ounce of that to ourselves.
What an idea.
And, right? It's amazing, right? That we fall into that, and we have to catch ourselves. Like, I do that constantly. It's like, it's so easy for me to give that to others, but do I give that to myself? So making sure that we all, even if it's just 5 minutes every day, whatever that practice is for you, like to make sure that you do that for yourself, and kind of fill your own cup before you're so busy emptying it out and sharing it with everybody else.
Yeah. And that's how we're hardwired as empathic light workers, and I know that term kind of rubs some people, but really, I mean, just being a light in the world, and knowing that you've got access to this illuminated version of yourself. Not everybody gives themselves access to that. And so when you can notice how your vibration does help people, it starts to reinforce this expectation that you're just people pleasing and you're here to please others. And then you can contract servicitis and the disease to please. And
Yes.
I'm realizing more and more, coming through the pandemic, I didn't realize how overextended and burnt out I was. I had no idea. I mean, I knew something was off, but the pandemic was such a beautiful opportunity to just kind of like collapse in on myself for a while and realize this is unsustainable. I love being needed, but that neededness goes into burnout so quickly. And it's like, what am I giving myself when I'm flipping hundreds of cards a week for so many people? When I worked in corporate, I was the resident psychic for, a huge building of people that were constantly coming to my desk to get readings. And of course, we were all getting in trouble because nobody wanted to work the phones. Loved that. I would much rather flip cards than make calls. But at the same time, I realized, how many cards have I flipped for myself this week? How many times did I set up my crystals and light my candles and incense for me? How many times did I get dressed up for myself? All of these rituals and just moments that my soul was calling out for. And I was so ready to just give it. And then, dead. So that was a major lesson. You better flip your own damn cards, light your own damn incense. All right. Rub your own damn crystals and then share the fun with the world. That was a valuable lesson for sure.
Yes, I love that you shared that. And I love that this is where the conversation is bringing us, is really to, empower people who are listening now, who will listen in the future, to say, so important to take time out for yourself first. Mm-hmm. And even if it's just the smallest practice and you could only give yourself 2 minutes, give yourself those 2 minutes, because your soul will be happy. It's going to say thank you because it's craving that, right? And the moment you start to do that and slowly start to build that practice, it really does pay off. Like you said, like I was someone when I started, when someone would say meditation, I'm like, are you kidding me? I have the attention span of a flea. There's no way I can be doing any kind of meditation. It's not happening, right? And now I can easily meditate for 10-15 minutes. And yes, there might be some noise that pops up because, the truth is people are like, well, my mind can't be silent. I can't meditate. Well, guess what? You can allow things to be present. You don't have to be into this formula of like, well, you can only meditate if your brain's in complete silence. No, I think we can leave that for the yogis. Like, it's okay. Being a human means that we're going to have all these different things pop up and show up, and it's okay. Just allow it and just keep doing. And guess what? You start today with 1 minute. Tomorrow you might be at 1.5 minutes, and so on and so forth. And it's like building a practice, right? And that's what I did too. I learned from listening to you and so many other people who are sharing these beautiful tools to say, hey, try this. At the end of the day, only you are going to know what you love and what works for you, because what I love might not work for you, right? And what you love is not necessarily going to work for me, but it's all about trying and to have fun with it, right? Like it doesn't need to be this big, oh my God, I have to be all serious and sit and whatever. Like create the experience that feels right for you. So I think that's really important. And I think we also think of meditation as a specific thing. And what I've learned for myself that I wanted to share is when you do things that you love, that is meditation too. Mm-hmm. When I sit down and I said, you know what, I'm just going to paint for a few minutes. You know what, I just feel like humming for a few minutes. You know what, I just want to go outside for a few minutes. That's all meditation too.
Yes.
So Yes. And it's so important that people realize that there are many different things and it doesn't have to look just this one way that's put out into the universe. Exactly. It's like there's a lot of different ways that you can meditate. Find what those things are for you and, start to put them into your daily routine and, kind of just go with the flow and see how it feels. And if you're one of those people like me who's like so inquisitive, I love to learn. So it's like I love to absorb the information and say, oh, maybe I'll try that, or maybe that feels good. So, I feel like one of the things that I especially loved when I would pop into your lives is I knew almost nothing about crystals. And I know like two
Oh,
years ago, I knew, but not like much. Like I think I might have accidentally owned a crystal kind of thing. Like someone gave me one. I was like, I don't know what this is. And so, your love and passion for your crystals and the knowledge, I would get excited just listening to you. I'm like, oh my God, I need to get some crystals. I don't have any crystals. I mean, they're so amazing. They're so powerful. And, so it's
yes.
like something even like that, like listening to something and see someone energy and passion and be like, oh, well, let me look into that. And now here I am, like, a year and a half later with like, I don't know, I've got at least 25 crystals and, learning
Oh, my
about.
chapter is done. Yeah, once you pop, the fun don't stop in the crystal world, that's for sure. I've heard of very few people giving up all their crystals and moving somewhere else. It does happen, shockingly, but I consider my crystals before I do anything. If I have to go travel, or if I have to uproot myself in any way, my crystals get the first accommodation. I'm like, what do I do with my babies? I have too many minerals over here. But yeah, the crystal journey, I was blessed to stumble upon crystals. And I remember it must have been like the same week when I was a kid that I saw the Goonies for the first time. And honestly, I don't remember much of the movie. The one part I remember is when they open this treasure chest and there's like all of these sparkling gems and like it looks like different colored crystals. And I was instantly like, oh, something inside me changed. And I knew I wanted that crystal power like I felt in the movie. And, that same week, the local library put together this almost like this gemstone obstacle course where you have to like crawl through this netting and up and over these things and then dig out a crystal from a little piece of clay. And when I was a kid, my cousins and I did this, and I retrieved a tiger's eye. And when I tell you that moment changed me, and I was kind of obsessed since then, from that point, with mineral medicine. And I will say, it only recently in the last, I don't even know, 10 years, do I truly feel the power of crystals and see firsthand how they work. Because I always wondered, how does it really work? Like, is just holding this crystal, is there energy emanating from it? Like, do I have to put it on a certain part of my body? Like, I don't know how to use these crystals. They're so cool, but I don't know how to use them. And now I'm seeing in my ripe old age as a crystal healer that the universe gives you validation in ways you would never expect it, especially when you're looking toward modalities to heal. Because your higher self, that is one of the prime intentions, I would think, is to feel well, to feel good, to be well. And so whether you're looking to the trees, to God, to the ocean, to crystals, you'll find your groove on, how to heal and how to get that reflection from the universe that what you're doing is working. And I'm still amazed to this day how I'll be thinking I need support in a certain area of my life. And then all of a sudden, a crystal will emerge that I've never heard of before in my years of loving crystals, and how the description of what others have experienced with it matches perfectly to the support that I'm looking for. So I see, and sometimes I will feel crystals. Like you'll feel a crystal and be like, whoa, something's going on here with this mineral. But most of the time, it's kind of like this feedback from the universe through the meanings of the crystals and kind of like a direct answer to what I was looking for help with. So just working with crystals, I think everybody has a different approach and a different experience. But for me, I will say the magic increases more and more as I go. So I love me some crystals. Love them.
And of course, if people didn't pay attention, the name is Crystal Queer. So that should tell you of his love for the crystals.
And the
So
queers.
of course, for the queers. And just so people understand, queers is just so all encompassing. And one of the things that you had shared earlier was through your own experience of feeling like someone who didn't have, you know, necessarily other people that were like you and all of that stuff. It's almost sort of like now for you, that's so important to create a community that says, I welcome everyone. Everyone is welcome, you know, and I think that is one of the beautiful things about your community, that you draw in just really people from like all facets and anyone who's felt like don't quite really fit in anywhere. But, you know, when I come in here, I just get to be myself and I can feel the love and I can feel the energy, and it just, you know, it feels right to be there because you're just like, I'm fully accepted the way I am. And I will say that when you're going through this kind of journey, which is truly, it's, you know, there are many days that are super challenging where you feel completely alone and you're like, I can't talk to my friends. They're not going to understand. They're not going to know what I'm going through. And you have to find your little places where you can retreat and have those communities where you can be like, okay, I can literally just be myself and say exactly what's going on and not feel judged and just feel held and supported. And I know for me, that was coming into your space, and I might have had one or two other spaces, but it was sort of like such an important part of my journey. And, you know, now it's like, as I'm still navigating, it's like I can see all of us that have like come into the space with you, like how we're all sort of navigating and growing, and you know, like our light is shining brighter because we've had the support, and now we can sort of expand and extend that to others, you know. So I will say a lot of that also has helped me in what I'm creating now, because I feel like I'm in a space where I've received so much love and support and nourishment and, you know, being held by unexpected people, like people, you know, how you think like, oh, well, they're totally going to support me. And then when you go through the journey, you're like, oh, I guess not so much. Okay, well, I guess I'll be looking elsewhere.
You know, I will say that right there, exactly what you just said, that expectation that certain people will get you or have your back. You know, one of the greatest wounds and gifts is that. And, you know, I used to work in LA on sitcoms and award shows doing audience work. So I was always around celebrities, always meeting people that were famous that I admired. And one gift slash shot to the heart that the universe gave me was that every single celebrity that I was in, what's the word I'm looking for? Everyone that I was near and could have access to, when I looked for a validation or some kind of acceptance or just like, please make me feel like I'm worthy. Whenever I looked for that from anybody, they would never give it to me. And it was the people I admired most and thought were the coolest that would not give me any validation. And that was so painful, you know, seeing like back in the day, I was like, oh, they're horrible people in reality. But now I saw they were co-creating with me to not depend or rely on validation, no matter how cool I thought they were, no matter how great I thought certain family members were. The ones that I had it out for, where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get their approval. Nothing went the opposite way. And if anything, they had some more wounds for me. Thank you very much. But that like never getting that okay from the people that I wanted, I think propelled me to not only be more rebellious, but to have such a stronger sense of me and realizing my approval is the only thing that's needed here. So that's a mighty lesson in itself, but one that's well worth it.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And it takes time, it's not going to happen right off the bat. And I think that's the journey, right? The journey is building your own inner confidence and strength. And the more you do that, the more you realize you don't need a lot of that external validation that we felt was what we needed, right? And
That was
it's
the top. You
that
get
was
the
the top.
validation from someone, and someone famous. Oh my God, you're the best.
Exactly. And it turns out that, it's actually not that. It's like if you get to a space where you can slowly build into I accept myself the way that I am, and I can be around others that are also doing the same thing or on that journey. Like that's really what it's about, right? And it's not about putting people on pedestals or being like, oh my God, I want to be like them. Hey, you should aspire, and that's wonderful stuff. But at the end of the day, we're all the sort of unique beings, and we're all here on our own journeys, and we're here to learn and grow, kind of almost like uncovering more of ourselves, right? Like how people always say, it's like start peeling that onion, all those
Mhm.
layers to get to the core.
Lots
And
of tears.
yes, exactly. That's so funny, right? With the onions, that's exactly it. But that's really the journey. And in the process of that, like you said, is where you find all the jewels. And sometimes they're painful, but there is that bright light that shines through them. Once you start to work through the journey, you can look back and say, wow, that was super painful, but wow, look at where I am today
Mhm.
from navigating through that. And
Yes.
also being able to say, you know what, as painful as that was, thank you for that lesson. Thank
Mhm.
you for that opportunity to navigate through it so I can sit here and look at it from a different perspective.
Yes, from a higher perspective. Because at the end of the day, it's like, we live in quite a time. And there's so much toxic comparison that's like natural, and so much, again, distraction, and just like so much to keep us from the perspective of our source, God, the universe, our higher selves. And when we kind of get bounced around and feeling like we're rejected from the outside world, it's so beautiful to recognize it's all a grand ploy by the universe to bring us back to the only thing that matters, which is all in house. It's an inside job, all of this. And then noticing when this is right and you can cultivate your own happiness, all of a sudden the world is like throwing bouquets at you, and you're getting all the approval you never really needed and won't ever need again. So it's pretty haha, jokes on us when we're looking outside, but we'll always be led home. So at the end of the day, it's always going to be good.
It's always going to be good. And that's so true. And I love where we've come in our conversation in this journey, because, it's like I'm starting a new journey. I'm excited about this. I know we were kind of joking in our chat together, but it's like, we're both coming out today. And so, also fully aware, I'm like, in my mind, I was like, okay, there'll be all these people that I know and they're going to come support. And then it came down to, it doesn't matter, right? Because it's all about us doing something that we are enjoying. We are sharing information in our journeys. And I hope that the universe will bring all the people that this will resonate with, so that it can offer them something on their journey as they're navigating through all of this. And that brings me to the spot of, we've talked, we've shared, and I'm so appreciative of everything that you've shared, all the beautiful insights. And I know there's so many pearls of wisdom for me as well as others who are going to be listening to this. But now we get a chance to delight in a little bit of your magical talents. So I was going to say, you obviously, it's whatever seems right to you in the moment, whether you want to maybe pull a card or if you feel like you want to channel something, we are all ready to receive.
Thank you. Thank you for setting me up. I'm like scanning the room. Again, I'm always surrounded by so many cards, but I kind of got this inkling. I just needed to shut up, which, to be honest, is one of the hardest lessons of my life. Just to stop talking and listen for a damn change. All right. Excuse my French. But they're telling me to just shh and listen. and we'll see what comes through. I have no idea. All right.
Okay.
All right. All right. Angels and guides, what is up? What do you want to say through me right now? Hmm. Okay. There's an echo of what we were talking about with rejection, and how rejection is truly the universe's protection. Those of us who have felt rejected, or that we don't belong, or that we are not worthy or as worthy as others, taking the bounce from that energy always leads to a life of true service to ourselves and service to others, knowing that we're not here to serve the ego anyway. We are here to radically accept ourselves and to share gifts that we don't even know we are sharing. I think I'm being made to feel that there's many people who are still haunted by feeling unwanted. And that what is happening with the collective right now, with the energy that's moving onto the planet, we are exercising our own demons, the ghosts of that rejection that have haunted us at this time, and moving into a place of really scattering that darkness, those limiting beliefs, and giving us a glimpse of why we are unconditionally loved, unconditionally successful, and always on our path when we are radically loving and accepting ourselves. Those old rejections turn into a reflection. I swear I'm not trying to rhyme as much as I am. This is just how it's coming through. Those rejections turn into a reflection of our own judgments on ourselves, of what we have haunted ourselves with. And now this energy is freeing us, allowing us to see from a higher perspective, and to also see others from a higher perspective and what makes them so divinely amazing. So that's what I got for you.
Oh my gosh, that was really powerful. And I resonated with that so much, because that's been a big part of my own journey, is all of that rejection, which I've been able to sort of work through to bring me to the space where now I can feel like I can be of service and share my light. So I absolutely love that. I think that message is going to really inform and help so many who get a chance to listen to this. I'm so excited for people to experience all of this beautiful conversation and magic that we have co-created together today. And I just want to say that it's been a joy, and I'm so honored. And I love you so much. And if you have any other parting words, otherwise I will go ahead and say a grand big thank you and close out our session today.
Yes, and I do. I just want to thank you, Vinita. I want to thank you for facilitating this connection, but more importantly, for facilitating your truth and allowing yourself to connect in this way. You are just a shining example of what it is to be fearless and authentic. And that authentic power, I know, is contagious. And there are so many people that are ready to contract that germ, baby. Let me tell you. So thank you for your infectious light and the love you bring. And I just want to say to everyone out there, the fear is real, the humanness is real, but your superpowers, your transcendent abilities are so much stronger than all of those little human blocks or fears that can interfere. Get right with yourself, and the world will be so much better for it.
Oh my gosh, what a beautiful message. Thank you for all the love. And I am super grateful, and I acknowledge what you are sharing with me. I receive it. And just as a ending, as we are closing out the session, to just remind everybody how incredibly magical and powerful they are, and to not forget to love on yourself as much as you love onto others.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, Vanita. Thank you so much for today. This has been amazing.
I love it. Well, we are wrapping up premiere episode number 1 with my magical friend Michael. This has been so amazing. And just so everyone knows, I am surely going to be bringing Michael back. So this is not the last that you're going to see of him. But I did want to also mention to everyone that I'll make sure to put all of his contact information in the details everywhere that this gets posted, so that you can connect with Michael directly. And again, thank you so much for this beautiful session today, Michael.
Thank you, Vanita. So much love.